Okay, we're back with style 3 of the album. For this style and this page, you need 3 envelopes and cardstock or a card from the package that you buy. One of the envelopes, you want to go ahead and just seal that closed and don't do anything else with that one yet. You can go ahead and set that aside. Okay, the other 2 envelopes, we're going to do as we did on the previous side. You're going to adhere just this little flap of the envelope together. So on one envelope, on the flap, you can just put some adhesive toward the top. And remember, it's going to be clean side of the envelope to clean side of the envelope. And line them up. And go ahead and seal that shut. So again, your envelopes are not going to be sealed together. It's just going to be this strip here that's adhering it together. So you want to cut from the point down to the point. Go ahead and cut that. And you also want to trim just a smidge off of the edge, the outer edge of each envelope. So you can do that. When you're doing your trimming of your envelopes, try to trim them all the same so that way they're all the same size when you put them in your book. If you don't do that, it's not a big deal, it's fine. So now you have these 2 envelopes held together just by this 1/2" piece of the flap here. What I want you to do is you're going to cut about halfway. You're going to cut that flap down to where the fold mark is. So you've got 2 little flaps there. Now you're going to take that envelope that you sealed and you're going to just cut that envelope right in half. I usually try to line up the point of the envelope. That way I know that's kind of where my halfway mark is. Or you could fold it, whichever you want to do. Okay, so now you've got 2 halves of an envelope. You've got one part that's open and one part that's not. The part that's not, you're going to take a smidge off of that side on both of them. That way you can, it's like a little band that goes right through on both of them. The little flaps on your envelope here that you have, you're going to put adhesive on both sides of each flap. So it doesn't matter which flap you want to start with. You can start with the top or the bottom one. You're going to take your adhesive strips off of each side. Be careful when you're doing this so that you don't end up sticking it down to the envelope. Take one of the pieces that you cut. And again, when you slide this on here, make sure that you are just a little ways back from the seam of the envelope so that these flaps will turn okay. Okay, so now you've got one flap adhered to one of your tabs, and you can go ahead and peel the adhesive off the other one and do the same thing there. Doesn't matter which way you put these on because you're going to cover them with pattern paper so you won't see the seam of the envelopes. So this is the 3rd style. This one is done and ready for pattern paper. So we'll go through that part of it. You can also take your card and put pattern paper on each side of the card, so put a different sheet on each half. I'll show you what that one looks like. Okay. So when you fold this down, you're going to have the two flaps in the back. So it's going to go flap, flap, envelope, envelope when it's folded. This part of the envelope, again, you want to make sure that you don't completely seal this shut, because you can use this as a photo pocket holder. This is also going to be the part that is adhered onto the binding. So just put the adhesive around the edge of the opening of the envelope and over on the envelope, and put your pattern paper down. And you open it up, the inside. These two inside pieces, you can go ahead and put adhesive all over the pattern paper and adhere those to the pages. Now, when you flip this over, you don't see the two little pockets. And that is because I have taken one of the cards that came with it and inserted that into this pocket here. So there's pattern paper on both sides, and I've made a little pocket here of the card. So that gets inserted into the right side pocket of the envelope. When you flip that over, that's this back part of the inside of the envelope. Again, make sure that you don't put the adhesive here, otherwise your photo mat will not be able to slide in and out. Put your adhesive, or put your pattern paper on this page and on each side of the two little pockets. In these little pockets, you can slide photo mats into there, or little hidden journaling pieces, whatever you would like to do. So you fold your pockets in, and then that folded card that's in that pocket keeps those closed. So again, here's the front. Open it up. And when you flip it over, you can open that, and there's your slide out pocket and your two little hidden pockets. Okay, so go ahead and again do two of those. This will be your last style of page. So once you have all these done, you'll have a total of 6 pages with the pattern paper on it, and you'll be ready for the binding. Okay, now we're ready to do the binding. For the binding, you want to take a piece of cardstock that is 11 inches long. The width of the cardstock is going to depend on whatever size envelopes you used. So my envelopes are 7 1/4. So I cut mine just under 7 1/4, so that way once we have the hinges built, they will slide right on, the envelopes will slide right onto the hinge and stay there without a problem. So again, it's going to be 11 inches long, and width-wise, it's going to depend on what size envelope you use. Whatever size your envelope is, just take it just slightly under that. What you want to do is take your piece of cardstock, and if you have a score pal or anything, that works best. You're going to lay it on your score pal. You're going to score at 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and then I would turn it around and do it again at 1 inch and 1 1/4 inch. Then it's going to be every ½ inch from there until you hit that 1/4 inch mark that you scored on the opposite side. So again, Score it 1 inch in, 1 1/4 inch in, turn it around, score it again 1 inch in, 1 1/4 inch in, and from that, it's every 1/2 inch is where you want to make your score marks. I've already scored this. Now you're going to use score tape on the back of it. You want to put your score tape, you've got your inch here, then your 1/4 inch. So you want to put your score tape on the first 1/2 inch, the 4th 1/2 inch, the 7th 1/2 inch, the 10th 1/2 inch, the 13th 1/2 inch, and the 16th 1/2 inch. So your 1/4 inch is here. Here's your first 1/2 inch mark. You're going to skip 2, put score tape on the next line, skip 2, 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 and score tape on the last one. Usually when I do this, I don't peel the score tape off until I'm ready to adhere the part to it. So I'm going to start with, if you turn it so that lengthwise, you're going to peel the first mark off, and you're going to fold where you put the tape. You're going to fold that to the second 1/2 inch mark that you scored. Then where that 1/4 inch is, you'll fold it back. So your first mark where you had your tape goes to your second mark. You're going to skip the 3rd one, so you can fold that back. Peel your next piece of tape off. That is going to adhere to the one right underneath it. Then you skip one, so you can fold that one back. Peel your next piece of tape off, which adheres to the one directly underneath that. You want to skip the next one. So whenever you pull your score tape off, it's going to adhere to the 1/2 inch mark directly underneath it. And then you skip the next one. Peel your tape off, adhere that directly to the one next to it. You fold it back, and then you're going to skip one. Peel the last piece off, and that adheres to the one directly next to it. And there you go. So, on each side, you're going to have your 1/4 inch marks. When you're done, you can push these little hinges that you just created down and fold them over each direction to make it a little more flexible. And this is what you should end up with. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 peaks. And this is what your envelopes are going to slide onto when we get ready to do that part. Okay, now we're going to make the binding of the book. Again, depending on what size envelopes you used is going to determine the binding of your book. You're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard. If you use the 7 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 envelopes, I did my chipboard covers to 6 inches by 7 3/4. You're going to need 2 of those. A smaller piece that's 7 3/4 by 2 1/2. A piece of Tyvek and mailing envelope. Just cut one apart and use a piece, I don't know, maybe so that you have an inch or so on each side of your piece of chipboard for the spine. You're going to need pattern paper. I usually try and cut this at least an inch bigger all the way around the piece of chipboard for the covered pattern paper. And then I did one in the middle for the spine that is probably 5 inches wide. So you're going to take your spine piece of chipboard, and what I did is I just put score tape all over one side of it. For this, I used the 1/2 inch score tape. You can use whatever size you want for this part of it. Whatever you have handy. If you don't have score tape, red sticky tape. Okay. So, the spine chipboard, I'm going to center it right on the piece of Tyvek mailing envelope. Now on each side of the Tyvek, I am going to put a 1/4 inch strip of score tape. This helps my placement of my covers. Okay, so you've got your chipboard down to your Tyvek paper. You've got a 1/4 inch piece of score tape on each side of that. Now, from that 1/4 inch out to the edge, you can put score tape all over that area on both sides. This is what we're going to adhere the chipboard covers to. So once you've done that, remove the score tape. On both sides, except for that 1/4 inch piece that's next to this piece of chipboard. You want to leave that there. Now you want to take your piece, one of your covers, whichever, it doesn't matter. Try to, when you're putting it down and you're adhering it to this, try to make sure that it's even across the top and bottom. And you want to butt it right up next to that piece of 1/4 inch score tape that you left on there. And I usually turn it around and do the other side. So that part is done. And what I'm going to do is the extra bit of Tyvek that's showing, I'm going to put some score tape on that. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that to the inside. This is going to be the inside of your album. Okay, so sorry, the dog moved the camera. So now you've got your spine, your front cover, and your back cover. If you flip it over, you see the Tyvek. Now what you want to do is you want to put adhesive all over the Tyvek because you're going to place your spine pattern paper on first. So So you can go ahead and put your score tape or your adhesive, however you're going to adhere it, all over this piece of Tyvek and adhere your spine paper.